Here I was hoping that after episode 200 that we'd just be done. And that would be it. We wouldn't have to do this anymore.
Really?
The march to 269.
I'm just kidding. I
just
really love
saw
doing
you
this.
guys were in a call and figured I'd pop in and see what's up. Like,
I
thought we were done, Mike.
Lost podcasters over here.
Right. I'm joking because I've been looking forward to. I've been looking forward to this episode and kind of dreading it all at the same time, just because there's, I have to play a whole council of supposedly very intelligent and high functioning politicians. I am neither of those things.
Luckily for you, this game's all about the suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, fair. And we can roll dice
We
to
get
represent.
to be actors.
Right.
Fake it till you make it, man.
Yeah.
But no, what I am good at is playing music. You all know that. Mm-hmm. And what I'm excited about in that regard is that my daughter came into town today, actually. Her and her friend are going to a rave tonight.
Is it the Shrek rave?
No, it's not the Shrek rave.
Sorry.
And they, they were going to just stay for the night. But I happen to be playing a show tomorrow, and Erin hasn't seen me play live in probably 18 years.
Oh, wow.
She was a toddler the last time she was at
it was very memorable.
Yeah, she played. She came up on the stage with me during that performance.
You better have some earplugs in, Daddy.
It was outside.
It was fine.
Okay. It was outdoors. It's still loud as shit. It was just outdoors. It's cool.
So I'm excited about that. So, like her and her friend are going to actually come to one of the cool New Orleans clubs. And
which band is playing?
That's the thing that I'm like a little less enthused about. Although it's like a good band. It's just not like if I had my choice, it wouldn't be the one. Can you guys guess?
Cardboard Cowboy?
No,
Big Worm.
that's Big Worm would be the one I would want.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
Those are the two that...
Is it
Little
Foosh?
Worm.
I would be cool with her seeing Foosh. It's the Grateful Dead tribute.
I
band.
don't know about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I don't know. I think Gen Z is a little maybe missed the boat on the Grateful Dead.
Certainly they have, and but that being said, the last time that this band played, we played as an after party after Billy Strings, and I tell you, most of the people that came through that venue, and it was sold out, like wrapped around the corner thing. No way that more than 20-30% of those people were over 25.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
It was crazy. Like, I was blown away. I could not believe it. But I did kind of warn her when she got here today. I was like, look, you know, the band you're going to be seeing is playing music that's 60 years old. And,
It's antiques at this point.
I mean, while outdated, like by Gen Z standards, the Grateful Dead are like such a staple of like counterculture in general that I don't think the like college age or high school kids getting into the Grateful Dead to some degree is going to go away anytime soon.
I think that kids will probably recognize the iconography of the Dead way more than the music of the Dead.
Yes.
Sure.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
Me.
But
I am that one.
I'm kidding.
but
It's me. I'm the problem.
she's also a hippie, right? Like that's like her. You know, she goes to Bonnaroo, which of course Bonnaroo is not really the same as it
Used to
was,
be.
but
Back
you know,
in my
like
day.
you know, she's not completely unfamiliar.
It's true.
So I don't know. I'm curious to see what she takes away from it. I think the thing about Grateful Dead is that their catalog is a book that constantly gets played by live musicians. You know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean by a book?
I just assumed
Like a jazz book?
Right. So that's where it originates. There's these things called the real books, and like, you know, you learn them so that you can sit
They're
in and
standards.
play. Yeah, right.
They're
So you can
standards.
play anywhere, you know. And the Dead has a book that gets used a lot. I mean, in New Orleans alone, there's no less than 5 Grateful Dead cover bands. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry.
I know it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, but like, It's a thing.
Y'all, New Orleans ain't that big. Like, that's a lot.
No, it's not. It sure pretends like it is.
That musical, though.
You know
it
what?
is that
Touche.
musical, yeah.
Touche.
There are over 100 bars, and they all have music every night. You know, so like it's just a thing that happens. So, anyways, I'm excited about that. I'm curious to see what she has to say about it.
Take pictures.
I'll be busy.
No, okay, you could get a
She'll
selfie.
take pictures.
Yeah.
I almost guarantee.
I doubt it.
What?
She's my
Ask her
daughter.
to.
She's just going to be like totally in the zone.
Ask her to take a picture with you.
Take a selfie with her before the show for posterity's sake.
Yeah, but then her mom might see it. I'm just kidding.
I hope she doesn't listen to the podcast.
I was like, oh boy.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, and the final thing about that is that they had this Airbnb like all squared away, and then it wasn't. Like, it got canceled on them like a week before they were going to come here. And so they're actually staying right next door because I have some neighbors who the other side of their duplex was like their daughter and her husband were staying there, but they just moved and it's vacant for like a couple weeks until some other family's going to move in there. And they're like, well, they could stay here. And so they like set them all up with a nice little Airbnb that's like right next door to
That's
my
awesome.
house. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Cool, man.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So that's my opening topic today.
Okay,
Tell me
well.
about your daughters and sons and what you're going to do.
So I can't speak to that, but in the music avenue, in one of our Discord channels on like our private server, we were talking about a local show. It's called the Cathead Jam, right?
Cathead Jam, yeah.
Yeah.
Cathead
And-
vodka is where that comes from,
Yeah,
right?
so it's a Mississippi brand of vodka. I was looking through the lineup and I found a few new bands that I'm like, oh, okay. Because I actually went and listened to them and I was like, this is A-okay. This is all
You on
right.
that goose now?
Look, I think
Big
that
goose
we
head?
should. I think we should turn this into an STF function, a little retreat.
I'm here
a little mini
for
retreat.
it.
You guys
Come
are already
on.
there.
Like, literally, I'm here. I'm in town.
For Josh and Zach, who it's hard to drag anywhere, you don't have to do anything. You're already there.
Hard to
Josh
drag
has
me
already
anywhere.
said
I'm
he's
just
going.
busy, sir.
Sir,
That what makes
sir.
it hard to drag you anywhere, Josh. My point still stands. Let's go
Yeah.
up there, John and Heath, and make a weekend of it. It's in
Jamal.
June.
Yeah, it's in the first.
You'll be out of school.
June. Yeah,
It's a Friday night and Saturday afternoon.
I'm not. Goose is interesting. I listened to that.
Are they?
I
Are
listened
they,
to
though?
half of the
Musically?
I listened to half of the live show that she put. And I was like, it's great for background music.
Right. That's the thing. Goose
That's really
is
what you
extremely
strive
talented
for.
at what they in their proficiency, but I don't find them to be interesting.
Yeah, it was like I was doing some spreadsheet work, and I was like, this is perfect. This is
They're
great.
like they're like the placeholder jam band for when none of your favorite jam bands are on tour, and it's like, well, I got to get my fix somehow. That's what Goose is.
I got to get a peak jam somewhere.
Right.
I
I got
really,
you. Goose has got you.
I'm digging the was it Larkin Poe?
Yeah, Larkin Poe.
Larkin
Josh is a
Poe's
big
good.
Larkin Poe fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Larkin Poe
Yeah, I
is good.
found them
and Shaky
a couple
Graves.
years ago, and
I really like Shaky Graves.
I've wanted to see him live for a while, so excited to see him come here.
There's a lot of like southern rock vibes, but sort of some of them seem a little more jammy. A little jammy.
Well, they all have the psychedelic undercurrent running through them. I mean, that's pretty much Cathead's MO, right?
Yeah,
It's
Cathead Jam
Southern
kinda.
psychedelic. you
Well,
know?
except the okay, what is this?
Last time I went to Cathead Jam, it was Revivalists.
Which is also Southern psychedelic,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
what is it?
Was that for-
Funk or something? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you about to say that funk is not
No,
Southern
no.
or psychedelic? 'Cause
No,
you'd be wrong.
Because you'd be wrong.
artist, the artist, Simafunk. I'm probably saying it wrong. Like, I was not prepared for, like, his whole sound was, like, really cool.
Is it just one dude?
I don't know if it's one dude. It's like, it's just a single dude on, like, all of the album art and everything.
Promotional material.
Yeah, but he's like, oh gosh, what was it? Like, Afro-Cuban and, like, very kind of funk undertones, and it's a vibe, man. It's a vibe.
Cool. Well, yeah, we should go.
Stay.
Zach, I'm staying in your bed.
No, you're not.
I'm going to stay in my bed.
Sleep on the couch. Sleep on the couch all you want, man.
Fine. I'm a good cuddler, though.
But you snore, Adam.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That is very true. It's a problem.
Just dropping truth bombs. It's okay. I snore too. I feel like we all snore, don't we?
Probably.
I couldn't hear the rest of y'all over Adam.
No way that was the same as me.
I've never heard myself snore.
Shocking.
I have, because Matthew recorded it.
I woke myself up before from snoring.
I was like, no, man, I don't snore. I'm like cute, right? Like I'm sleeping. No, buddy.
Monster.
It wasn't that bad, but it was definitely. I was like, oh, I could have woken people up with that. Okay, well, that's not great. It's happened though.
Okay, so our future plans aside, we ended the last episode with the arrival of the Ark Prime in the Pact Worlds space, and you guys being summoned to a council meeting in the gold. Well, no, it's not in the Golden Vault. You guys moved to this other dome where a directorate is meeting, and they want your input as you guys have the most firsthand experience with this. And the thing is that's where we're going to start, but there's a lot that's going to go on with this. So this whole thing is going to be a mixture of role play where you're going to listen to the first things first is you're going to come and explain what you know to them. And then you're going to listen to the 7 different council members kind of talk about where their priorities lie. And each of you have 4 social actions that you can do throughout this. And I think I'll get to that after the initial laying your cards out on the table with the council. So when you walk in, you're greeted first by the Sheeran, who's very heavily augmented. And they kind of make some space for you. And you see here in this room, Lynn Camulin, which, of course, Ziva and Kuiper are familiar with. And to be fair, I would think that probably Ziva knows who all of these people are at first look.
Yeah, knows them, maybe doesn't know them.
Yeah, but knows of them, can kind of spot who they are. Yeah. You see Lynn Camulin, who's a Karasha Lashunta. He is the Director General of the Stewards. He kind of smiles and nods at the both of you as you walk in. You see Gevaleresk Nor, who is the famed or maybe infamous Eoxian ambassador. You see Klendalik, which is the Sheeran. And that Sheeran is from Verces, and you know Klendalik to be a staunch proponent of cybernetic research, which is evident by the amount of technological augmentations visible on them. There is Kumara Melacruz, which Ziva would be very familiar with, as both of you serve on the same council. She is the top government official of Absalom Station, so in some ways she's your boss when it comes to the Absalom Station Council. She's known to be tough on corporate criminals and has very permissive views on immigration. I think probably something that you share, Ziva. One thing to note is that many people have tried to assassinate her in her career, and she has survived all of them.
That means you're doing something either really good or really bad.
Right. Losafarin is a elf, and he is an administrator from Castrovel, basically with a desire to just have that influence into the future of the system. But he isn't too well known. He's probably the person you're least familiar with here. There's also Milgon Navaris Kachel Andar, which is a female Kasatha from Idari. Andar is known to be very conservative and a vocal devotee of Talavet. She's a traditionalist and is very much consults with her deity on a lot of the decisions that she makes. And finally, there's Zaya Cho, a winterborn Riforian from Triaxis, was once a battle flower of Ning before moving into politics, and they recently stepped in to become the main Triaxian representative for the Pact Council when the former ambassador was assassinated. So
Neat.
those are the people that you see, and they stop whatever chatter that they have. All stopped when you guys walked in, and they all seem eager for your presence. Nobody's looking at you like, "Why are these people here?"
Right.
They want you here. And
I just had a thought, which it's probably neither here nor there, but with all these attempted assassinations on Kamara, as well as Cho's predecessor, I wonder if the APA ever had to like ship one of the assassins to like escort them to trial.
Ew.
Do you think that was the case?
I'm just wondering because like it wouldn't really matter if you knew they were guilty or not. Like the point is to get them to somewhere they'd get a fair trial, and assassinating someone and getting caught on Absalom Station would probably be a hard place for an unbiased trial.
I feel like whomever did the assassinating didn't make it off of Absalom Station. I feel like it probably the issue took care of themselves before y'all got.
Well, but
to
there's
ship
multiple
anybody.
Attempts on Kumara. I assume attempts because they got caught. You know.
Yeah.
Right.
Fair.
Right.
Fair. All right. So they welcome you in, and they all take their seats and kind of usher to you guys to the front of the room, and they're kind of seated in a U shape around you. Although it is a large circular table, but they've all kind of congregated on one half of the circle to see you. And I would like you to start by basically, I'll say this. Lynn greets you. He says, "Ziva, it is a pleasure to have you here, although the circumstances are not great. Please, we need as much information as you can provide. I realize we all know very little about what is happening here, but anything that you could provide would be of the utmost help as we decide what we will do for Absalom's defenses."
Of course, we are here fully at the disposal of the council, and we will share all of the information that we have, well, what little that we have amassed. So, like, I mean, how do we do this, Adam? Do we just, like, say...
For now, I want you to just say what you know. And then I will outline the mechanics of the minigame from there.
I mean...
We tell them what we know.
Yeah, we do that. I mean, essentially, we rehash everything that was shared at the council on Hib, because we told them everything. So, I mean...
All right, so they listen with rapt attention as you kind of regale them with everything that's happened so far and what you discovered in the World Seed and the kind of level of threat that is potential here with the advanced technology that they have with the quantum technology. And they're all like, very seriously, yes, oh, yes, okay. And they inform you that there's no way to mount an assault on the ship in the amount of time. I mean, the ship's going to be here soon. It's moving fast. And so they're trying to shore up defenses of the Absalom Station. But there's a limited amount of resources to defend against this ship. and to deal with any aftermath that it might cause. And so where we're at now is that they're going to each express to you kind of what they want to focus the resources on, because there's a few different concerns to think about. You guys each have 4 social actions that you can use throughout this process, with the exception of Ziva, who I'm giving an extra action to because she is a politician. So that's going to be her bonus there. Each action can be used one of 3 ways. You can assess one of the counselors. You know, they all have different viewpoints, but untangling their statements from any inherent biases and motives can give you a better grasp on the truth of the situation. So as a social action, you can attempt an appropriate skill set with a skill check with a set DC listed, in their stat block, right? But what this means is that you would basically be listening to that counselor's point of view and carefully questioning their answers. If you succeed, I will give you a more accurate appraisal of the true difficulty of what they're trying to do, and maybe some deeper insight on their motives. So that action is called assessing an NPC. There are 2 other actions that you can use with your social actions that fall under the influencing an NPC category. You can attempt either a discovery check or an influence check. A discovery check will allow you to identify what skill check you can use to influence a counselor. Each counselor has different skills that would be better suited for influencing them, you know. So there might be an engineering task that they're wanting to do. So, you know, rolling a good engineering would let you influence them. But you do not figure out what those checks are without a discovery check. Now, you can attempt to guess at the skill without a discovery check and roll an influence. But if you do not pick one of the skills that they are influenced by, you're wasting an action, so to speak. So that's the 3 things: assess, discovery, influence. All right.
I can't wait to hit every one of these with a hard fucking athletics check till one sticks.
So there are a few different concerns. All right. There's defending the Adari, which is in the direct path of the Ark Prime. There's rescuing the Oxian fleet, which I'll give you more details about that here in a second. There's station defense and station security. All right. Those are the 4 kind of main areas of concern that are going to be discussed here. Now, what I'm going to do is start with Galvaresk Nor. He's listened to you guys, and now he's going to offer his perspective. And then once that's done, you can choose to assess if you want. I'll give you that option. But remember, you each have a limited number of social actions, you know.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
question. So
yes.
Like, if I wanted to assess, and then Fel wanted to discover, and then Heath wanted to whatever, like, is that cool, or it all has to be the same person?
No, okay. That's the suggested way to handle this. You know what I mean?
Another question. Mm-hmm. If we do use discovery on someone, say Mike finds out that this guy can be influenced with engineering, is that information, like, does everyone else know that information?
Right. Because you guys are all telepathically connected.
Okay. Cool.
I am assuming that information is being shared amongst you guys as you do this, right?
But if that was not the case, you'd have to like secretly
pretty
tell
tricky.
us.
It'd be pretty tricky. Yeah.
Wow, that would be tough. That was clutch.
Hey,
that was
Oren.
really clutch, Zach.
Hey, Oren.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's a major class feature for Mystics, so yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're not a technomancer, my man.
So
you ought to all be dead if Oren was a technomancer.
That's for sure. All right. Galvaresk Nor, he's going to say,
Well, the APA, I've heard much about you, and I must say that we are all better for having you here, I'm sure. Before you arrived here, a fleet of starship pilots from the Eox Defense Forces attempted to confront the Ark Prime and shoot it down. I believe that I could convince them to retreat or change their tactics into delaying the Ark Prime instead of launching a full-on assault, increasing the chance that the Eoxian fleet survives.
At this, Lossafaran kind of huffs. I think that with the limited scope of our forces, we must leave the Eoxian fleet to their fate. Would they serve us if tides were turned? And so, a little bit about Gevlaresk is that he's a humanoid being with an elongated cranium. His skeletal visage clearly marks him as undead. He's a spellcaster who uses powerful magic to achieve immortality at a price. An eerie light burns from behind his sunken eyes. He wears a fancy gold and purple suit that clearly displays his power and prestige, though the elbows and sleeves occasionally fray due to the magic use or constant contact with his sinewy bones.
So
Very pleasant.
he's fine. He's doing great. You're doing great.
You realize that he's certainly focused on wanting to put resources to rescuing the Eoxian fleet, and he's laid out what their situation is. And you also kind of got the sense that Lossafaran is not too keen on using the resources to save them.
So, I'm sorry. Question: they're already en route to the
They
Ark Prime?
already tried to do that, and
Okay.
were
set upon.
Yeah, and so, but they weren't destroyed. Okay, so they're just like in a holding pattern, but they're kind of stuck out there right now because they need resources to kind of back them up a little bit.
So they cannot retreat. Is that not
Correct.
an option? Okay.
Right.
Lame.
But, this is an opportunity where you could roll an assessment check to get a better idea of the picture and a better sense of the motives of Gevlaresk. I'm sorry. Say it.
Gevalarsk.
Gevalarsk. Gevalarsk.
Or you
Nora
could say
and-
Counselor Nor.
Counselor Nora. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
How politician of you.
Yeah, let's. I'll do an assess.
Okay. So you can roll either a culture or sense motive.
Oh, baby. Let me just double check. Yeah, we'll do a culture. And do I get to include my expertise die?
You get to do it all the things, yeah.
Yay!
This is where you're really going to shine,
It's a bummer. It's only a 34.
Would you like to use an inspiration?
No, but what I would like to do is use improvisation adornment. That's it.
There you go.
Yeah, so I activate that, and I will get one reroll. So I would like to
All right.
reroll that.
All right, sounds good.
Come on. That's much better. 47.
Yeah, okay. That'll do it. With a successful assessment here, what you gain is that you know that the difficulty of rescuing the Eoxian fleet would be at a medium difficulty. If there were 3 different difficulties, easy, medium, hard, which there are, this is a medium one. You also assess the situation to where you recognize that if the Eoxian fleet could delay the Ark Prime, Pact World forces would have more time to mobilize. From that point, the Eoxians might be able to retreat to Absalom Station, further reinforcing the station's defenses. But any attempt to support the Eoxians does put the Pact World ships in danger alongside the undead fleet. So, at this point, you're just going to want to take notes, right? You don't have to make any decisions now about where things go. You're going to have a collection of fleets that you can try to decide who goes where, all right? Okay. But that's the information that you know about rescuing the Eoxian fleet and what is motivating our boy Counselor Nor here. Yeah. You can sense that he's clearly none too pleased with his fellow Yoxians at this moment. He thought it was a foolish endeavor for them to try to go attack this thing, and they did it on their own without any clearance. He still has a vested interest in attempting to save the fleet from itself. Though his main motives veer suspiciously close to gaining political favors to hold over other Yoxians, Nor can eloquently argue for the advantage of having the Yoxian ships available to aid Absalom Station's defenses. And he insinuates that he can use his authority to force the ships to retreat without too much fuss. People who demonstrate they can manipulate others with words or see through manipulations amuse Nor. And he does reserve some measure of legitimate respect for those who show advanced knowledge of mystic power.
Okay.
So, in an RP sense, he's going back and forth with you about...
We do have a forward fleet already out there, foolish as they may be. If we could send ships out there to assist them, and then they are successful, it would bolster the defenses if they could be escorted back here.
And so that's what Councilman Nor has to say. Next up, we've got Lynn. Now you're going to get a +2 both Kuiper and Ziva to any checks involved regarding Lynn because of your prior relationship with Lynn. Lynn is a pale-skinned Lashunta with ash blonde hair. Faint blue temple markings and light green eyes provide a few hints of color to his otherwise muted visage. He keeps his hair and beard short and cleanly trimmed in military style. Adorned with red accents, his blue uniform is emblazoned with the symbol of the stewards, as well as his many medals of service. So, for Lynn, he's like, Ziva, thank you for sharing everything that you have discovered thus far. We are most glad to have you and the APA here assisting us. I must say that for me, I feel like resources must go to defending the station. And that the Ark Prime approaching at such a inevitable pace, I really believe that we must keep our ships here as a defense. That is, I'm not much of a politician, but I am a tactician.
Oh. So telepathically, Ziva would say, Kuiper, you have a pretty high sense motive, don't you?
Yes, Kuiper would.
So the thing about this is to assess Mr. Kamulon, or I'm sorry, Director General Kamulon. Mm-hmm. It's actually going to be an engineering, piloting, or profession soldier check.
I don't actually have the profession for soldier, son of a bitch, but
piloting would be, I think, a strong one, as he's talking about ship organization.
Okay.
Hey, Zach.
Kuiper has shitloads of piloting.
I got
what are you
great
talking
piloting.
about?
I got 25
sorry.
piloting. Yeah.
I forget that he has all the skills.
Yeah. I'm super skill monkey.
So far, Emily, Ziva has used one of your actions.
For the discovery?
For the assess.
Oh, for the assess. Gotcha. Okay. I am going to assess with an engineering check. I have 29 to that.
All right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm just going to go ahead and roll first.
So I was laughing because you can't fail this roll if you have a plus 29.
Okay.
As the DC
Cool.
for this was low, it's at 30.
Okay.
All right. So for station defense, that is a medium difficulty task. Okay. And for successfully assessing, you see that the director is certainly right to be concerned about the defense of the station, as the Ark Prime will likely reach the station before the Pact World forces can fully mobilize. You can also surmise that the Armada is no match for the Ark Prime, and risk must be taken to survive the approaching threat. Of course, failure to defend the Absalom Station would have beyond catastrophic results, and so arguing for less defensive presence at Absalom Station is a daunting prospect. Furthermore, as you kind of hear what Kamulon is saying and using your expertise, you can better sense that his motives is that he has little patience for all of this, right? He is a general. He's a tactician. And you can tell that he understands that there's a necessity for the Directorate to debate their course of action, this whole back and forth, oftentimes circling back with no progress made. And you can see that actually puts a strain on the Director General. But he's too reserved to object about it out loud. And among those present, you know that he holds the most knowledge of the Pact World's current military capabilities. So being superseded by politicians clearly aggravates him. You would then see any intervention by the PCs to keep this meeting progressing forward would earn his gratitude.
Okay. All right.
Is it fair of us to just try and go through all of the people and do assessments?
I've kind of figured that would be the best way to go through this. Yeah.
Okay.
And that way you can hear what they're trying to do.
Yeah, let's listen to everybody before.
Right. And then you can influence them. And some of this, if you're succeeding about figuring out what their motives are, you're getting a better educated guess of what things might influence them as well.
Yeah.
So let's move to Klendalik, which is the Shirin. Much of Klendalik's Shirin biology is enhanced by cybernetic augmentations. Her eyes contain electronic components, which allows her to see much further and much better than most, though where she's looking is not always clear. Her legs are fortified with metallic struts, and one of her arms has been replaced with a cybernetic limb. And she goes on to say that, there's some conversation about defending the Adari. And you notice, of course, Andar is all about defending the Adari. Andar being the, that's being their home as a Kasatha. But you notice that Klendalik seems to chime in with Andar. The Directorate, most of the Directorate believes that the Adari can manage without additional aid. But Klendalik's like,
it would be catastrophic and would result in all of the Kasathan forces not being able to help us. If we do not defend and help our brothers and sisters against the initial assault of this Ark Prime, we cannot leave them to simply be destroyed. And that's their entire world. We must aid them.
So, out of character, I feel like we would all know this. Based on where the Ark Prime was positioned and its trajectory and all of that, the Adari is closer to Absalom Station than the Eoxian fleet currently, correct?
Yeah, the Eoxian fleet.
They're like up on it.
Yeah, right.
Okay. And the Adari can move.
Yes, although not very fast.
Okay.
But it is mobile.
It is a world-sized ship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Sorry. Please go ahead.
But yeah, so you get the sense that this is where Klendalik's priorities lie, is in aiding and assisting one of the main Pact Worlds members, who are a direct threat of the Ark Prime. So I will say for this, it will require a culture or sense motive. And if anybody's good at those, barely, you want to spread out these actions.
That's kind of where I'm...
Because you want to save some of these actions for the other aspects of this.
So, I can sense motive.
All right.
On this,
let's do that.
On this Sharon, this Ed Sharon here.
Let's see what you can do.
25.
Oh, you rolled a 5?
I rolled a 5.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. That is a fail.
Yeah.
However, anybody can try again. It's not like fail and it's done, but you just you're limited by your actions.
Gotcha. The amount of. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
I'll do culture.
Okay.
41.
There you go. That'll get it. So that takes you down to 3 actions. But with that success, you can certainly determine that, defending the Adari would be very difficult. It's far away from Absalom Station, and it's a difficult thing to defend, especially when you're trying to also defend Absalom Station. You know that the calculated path of the Ark Prime shows it will pass dangerously close to the world ship, forcing the Kasathas to scramble to move their cultural home. You know that the vessel hasn't started up its engines in ages, and the process of moving it might be safer with engineers and escorts from Absalom Station. You assess that the situation... that you recognize that the situation is far more dire than anyone in the Star Chamber even realizes. The chance of a starship passing through the Adari's orbit by accident is astronomically small, meaning that the Ark Prime is deliberately pursuing the Adari as either a perceived power source or a perceived threat. Without a substantial escort fleet to divert Ark Prime from its course, the Adari is at substantial risk of going down in flames. But that's also
not good.
Yeah, and that's also a very hard task. It's the hardest, so to speak, if I were to rate it as such. You also gain a better sense of Clendalic's motives, in that she is committed to presenting a strong front with Andar to support the Adari, hoping her voice can convince the other counselors that Andar is not simply biased on the subject due to their Kasatha heritage. In addition to a desire to aid the Kasathas, Clendalic recognizes that a major harm to the Adari would have a devastating effect on the Pact World citizens' morale. Those who show a similar dedication to the mental and physical health of others can win Clendalic's support, though the friendly Sheeran can also be browbeaten into submission.
All right, so to clarify, this is very difficult. It would pull a shit ton of resources from Absalom to try and, guard the Adari. Would the Eoxian fleet, if we utilize them, could that, deter the Ark Prime from its current position? Emily is not a tactician.
They're not strong enough to do it on their own. Okay. So they're asking for backup support. Adari wants backup fleet ships, that's the problem that you have to deal with, But there are a couple, 4 more council members that are all adding to the stickiness that is the situation. So next we're going to move to Kamara Melacruz, and Ziva, you will gain a +4 to any checks related to Kumara. Okay. Kumara is a tan-skinned woman whose strong, angular features and jet black hair present a striking, authoritative figure. Her clothing and jewelry accentuated this image, and other powerful business administrators often consider the prime executive an inspiration for fashion that conveys professionalism without dipping into pretentiousness or tawdriness. And she is like, Ziva, it is unfortunate that we see each other again under these terms, but I am glad to have you here, as I know that you have the people of Absalom Station at your core of your heart. And she goes on to talk about actual station security. So not the defense of the station, but the security of the people. And she says, I am concerned that moving too many forces off Absalom Station would likely cause a civilian panic should the Ark Prime come too close. Worse yet, I've heard that there are fringe political groups threatening on social media to storm sensitive government facilities. And I fear that they might take advantage of any chaos to foment an uprising. I wish to keep the crew of many of the Armada ships here, at Absalom Station to serve and offer further security and evacuation efforts if necessary.
Assist.
I hope I can count on you to help allocate resources to the people here at the Absalom Station.
All right.
So this will be a culture or sense motive.
Culture.
Remember, you're going to get a +4. You're burning through your...
I know.
Okay.
Fuck.
Well, you get a +4 to that.
Yeah, that's 39.
So that'll do it.
Okay.
So this is an easy task to do.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they're here already, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an easy thing to do. It would be easy to keep people here as far as mounting those resources. You realize that while a few of the threatening groups are dangerous extremists, most of them are all talk and no action. You know this given your maybe deeper connections to the underbelly of the system, of the station. So yeah, there's a lot of chatter, there's a lot of people talking, but most of them are just,
Hotter.
roostering,
Okay.
With some official backing, the stewards and other defenders can likely handle these groups. Without at least some military presence, the station might suffer internal catastrophe while fighting off external forces. Absalom Station can likely make do with a token military force, with the caveat that doing so means the station can't be evacuated if something does go wrong. If the Directorate were to focus too much on the defense and not enough on offense, the need to evacuate in the future becomes a near certainty. So overall, keeping the station forces to a reasonable minimum and focusing on riskier yet more rewarding scenarios is likely the better maneuver, but one might not play well with the citizens of Absalom Station if publicized.
Right. So can I ask this? All these tasks that people are lobbying for, can we only pick one of them? Like, ultimately, this has to be...
No, you're going to have a number of fleets that you'll be able to allocate.
Okay.
certain amount
That's
to
better. I
each.
was like, if we can only do one thing, then screw that. Like,
Yeah.
Right. And the more fleets that you allocate to a certain task, the easier it will be to hit the role of
Gotcha.
each of these concerns, and there will be a role
Gotcha.
involved.
So you want more fleets on the harder things.
Right, but there are also, consequences of
Sure,
Back-
I get that.
backlash.
I get
Yeah.
that. But if your goal, like we choose to do a harder task, we want to make sure we have enough forces to do
Right.
it, or there's no point.
Right. And then you can certainly, after your time that you spent with her in council meetings over the last year, Ziva, you know that MacCleod considers the defense and well-being of the station to be her prime responsibility. You might be angling for a Pact Worlds seat, but for her,
It's all about
Absalom Station is her entire world.
Yeah.
So she seeks to ensure that whatever conclusion the Directorate comes to will adequately address her concerns. Having educated herself on the matter, MacCleod heavily favors the defensive plan the Pact Council is already leaning towards, but she understands that risk might need to be taken to rally additional forces against an unknown threat. A well-presented argument or any in-depth knowledge of Absalom Station can sway MacCleod. She's also impressed by those able and willing to cut through self-serving political doublespeak.
Okay.
And as we're going through these, I am actually revealing their motives in the journal handout.
Oh, okay.
So that's all
Thank
documented.
God. That's literally what I was just
thank you.
thinking. I was like, oh man, if we're all not taking great notes, like,
Oh, I'm taking
Can we-
taking some serious notes right now.
Just real quick, I just need to shout out to Foundry because this update is banging. Sorry, please. Go ahead.
It's making this much easier than
Yes.
it would be. All right, so then Losafarian
This
pipes
guy.
up. And, he's wire thin with sunken cheeks. He seems to bear the weight of his centuries. He has dusky brown skin, jet black eyes common to his ancestry, and dappled hair that resembles the patterns of hawk feathers, pulled back into a ponytail. He wears loose-fitting robes with elven symbols sewn into the collar. For him, his main thing is he's like, with the most respect to Councilman Noor, I feel that our limited resources being spent to assist the foolhardy nature of their pilots is unfair to those of us who are trying to defend with a more reasonable and tactical approach. We are outmatched at a single one-to-one starship combat with this enormous ship. Our resources should be entirely dedicated to defending this station. That is all that I have to say on the matter.
What is required to assess this person?
This would be culture or sense motive.
All right, I can't do it, y'all. Somebody else has got to.
I'm sorry. Life science or sense motive.
Yay!
Neither
Try
one
a
of those
sense
is me.
motive.
You got it, Zach.
Maybe. Fuck. Roll a 6, dude. 26.
It's better than 5.
Yeah, that's not going to get it. You know,
I can roll.
you can. I mean, of course you can, right? But like, you also, I don't know. Josh has 4 actions left. Heath has 4 actions left. Emily only has 2. John, you only have 3, and you haven't got into trying to influence them at all.
Right.
So you know, it might be this one. He's just unreadable. You know.
Yeah.
And-
Well, and we
Just
do
kind
know his thing is all defense and like just metagaming, knowing our crew, like we're probably gonna want to like take it to someone, you know.
I mean, I'm not. He's probably the least I'm worried about. But again, that's just me personally. So if. Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
I mean, I'd help if I could, but my 4 actions are useless thus far.
Yeah. Speaking up next is the Kasatha. And she says, I have prayed deeply, spent many of nights trying to understand why we are being tested in this way. I must appreciate my Shirin companion here for their allyship in protecting our home planet or home ship. I understand that, of course, this is where I would like resources being allocated to. It is my home after all. But is it not the spirit of the original founders of the Pact Council that we served in harmony to aid one another in our most dire needs? I just simply ask for the assistance that we would give you if the situations were reversed.
What?
Assess.
Come on, mysticism.
The assess is going to be culture or engineering.
I can do that.
Hey.
And I'm sorry, I didn't give you a description for our listeners. Andar is tall for a Kasatha, though this is somewhat difficult to tell since Andar spends most meetings seated. Her skin is light green with darker green spots across her brow. She wears an understated light blue suit and a matching traditional face covering devoid of any markings. Her hands occasionally shake when she grips something for too long, most noticeably when she takes a sip of water. None of the other Directorate members comment on this particular issue.
All right, well, I would like to do an assess with engineering.
Okay?
Ooh, that's not bad. That is a 14 plus 29. So
Wow.
43.
Yeah, this was one of the more difficult DCs to hit, and you do.
Yay!
And so I've already given you the full rundown on defending the Adari and the difficulty involved in that. So I'm just going to give you her motives. So before she became a mystic and a politician, Andar briefly trained as an auxiliary crew member on the Adari's engineering decks. So she understands the difficulty of evacuating the colony ship or restarting its engines. Her primary concern is the safety of the Adari citizens and preventing the loss of much of Kasathan culture and history should the ship be destroyed. Platitudes to address these concerns, true or not, or similar expertise in machines go a long way to soothing Andar's concerns. You also know that anyone who attempts to underhandedly use the Kasatha's medical concerns as a point of leverage would severely have negative impacts on any checks to influence her.
All right. What about Cho?
Zia Cho, a non-binary winter-born Riforian, is a muscular person, slowly approaching middle age. A well-groomed layer of short white fur covers their body, and they wear the bluish-white hair in a decorative braid and sleek black dress that's stylish but not ostentatious. They're kind of have this weird smirk on their face throughout all of this, and you can tell that it's. I mean, just with your like natural sense motive, Ziva, you can tell that that's a nervous tick.
Okay. Resting bitch face kind of
situation. Yeah. They're like, well, I must say it's good to have the APA here. At least we're not all getting corrupted, eh?
Here, I like you.
Yeah.
Right. So here's the thing. I think that the best thing we could do really is just to defend this station. If we keep everything here, and apologies to you, Councilman Noor, and Councilwoman Andar, but this thing is huge, right? And there's only so much we can do, and we have to hold our ground until the rest of the Pact Worlds can get their forces together. I just don't see any way of standing a chance other than fortifying our position here. Now, I understand everybody has different reasons for what they want. I understand. I can respect that, but if you ask me, that's where I stand on this. I'm new to this whole game, so I'm not even supposed to be here today, really. But
proud of you. Just as a reminder, they stepped in after the other counselor was assassinated. So they are very new to this.
I'd be nervous too.
Hell yeah.
Kuiper pulls out a blade and sneaks behind him.
No. What is required
Quad attacks,
assess
baby.
them? Quad attacks.
One more.
For an assess here, a culture or a perception?
Son of a bitch.
I've got a 21 perception. It's not great, but I do have 3 actions left.
It's my highest fucking skill, man. It's just like I've burned 2 for nothing. So I can use this, and I mean, I don't see how I can fail it with a 32, but I will be unable to do almost anything else later.
Okay. You'll have one action left.
Mm-hmm.
I'd imagine later we'd have one that would be mysticism that you could use it on. But
or another perception. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to roll because 32 is the DC. so that's just a guarantee.
Well, at least my bad luck prevention kicked in here.
So it's again, you know this it's the same issues with the defense that was already articulated before, with the danger being you're leaving both the Oxians and the Adari basically to be destroyed if you were to put all of your resources here.
Yeah.
As far as the motives of Cho, as a former battleflower, Cho is aware of the importance of defense. They don't think Absalom Station could be defended adequately without taking some risk to bolster the Armada's forces. Cho is impressed by eloquent arguments, but is equally enthused by those who appreciate physical performance.
Okay.
So, we now go into the second part of this. You guys have all your information.
Yes.
You guys have pretty much successfully assessed everybody with the exception of Lossafaran. Now, Heath, you haven't rolled anything, but you don't have a decent
I don't have a way to roll anything.
Yeah.
So
your sense motive is no good?
No, I don't even have sense motive.
just to kind of like clarify here, Cho is essentially in the same, well, I don't know what you call this, task as Lynn. Mm-hmm. And then...
for Absalom, I mean, for station defense.
For defense.
Right,
and then Andar and...
Glendalic.
Thank you. Are pretty much in the same camp for Adari.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, real quick, if I may interrupt for a second. Okay, so I've been taking some notes on this, on everything that's been going on, and I think it would be perfect for like during the assessment, before the assessment portion. And
you
we're
mean
all
the discovery portion.
I mean, I'm sorry, towards the discovery portion as far as this. That being said,
so I'm gonna interrupt you here, John. You're definitely on the right track. A good like kind of summary of what your choices are, but I don't want to necessarily get into the conversation of what you're going to choose to push
until we
yet.
Get to the
because so there's going to be this whole phase of now interacting with each of the ones to try to gain influence over them, and then there'll be the whole conversation of, all right, where are we going to put these fleets and why are we going to do that? So I want to just put a pin on that. I just want to put a pin on that for now.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Cool. Go ahead.
So I want you to be gaining all the information that you can first, so that you're at the best possible situation to have that meaningful discussion. So right now you have kind of learned what everybody's concerns are, and you have made some assessments, and you have some educated guesses on a few of these that you could try to roll an influence check without a discovery check. That's up to you guys if you want to do, but you also have the option to make discovery checks on each of these council members.
So I'm seeing like kind of, and you said this when you read it out, but like their motives at the end, based on, okay, so Nor, as example, also reserves some measure of legitimate respect for those who show advanced knowledge of mystic powers. Is that essentially hinting at what would be rolled?
I'm not going to tell you yes or no on that.
Okay.
But what I will say generally is getting those motives certainly hints at potential ways to influence.
Gotcha.
Now, if you want to do a discovery, I'll go ahead and tell you that the skills that you can roll for discovery are static for all of them. It's either a sense motive or a society check. Or culture, rather.
Oh, okay. I was like, whoop.
It's actually it says society in here, but that's just a typo, so it should be culture. So, like, doesn't matter who you are trying to discover on, it's the same roll for each person. And if you succeed at that, then you'll know for a fact what the skill will be for the influence checks. Now, you could try to save some of your rolls, your turns that you have, by making an educated guess based on what you've learned from the motives, if you would like. Okay. But that's the stage that we're at now. So, anyways.
So, also, I'm looking at some of my things here. I'm currently wearing my couture jewelry. And wearing couture jewelry grants a +1 circumstance bonus on charisma-based checks to influence creatures who are aware of the value of items determined by the GM. So.
Well, yeah, I would certainly say that would give you a bonus in regards to Kumara, without a doubt. Which you already have a +4 bonus on.
What about Nor? He seems like a...
So Nor, I think certainly you could get a bonus on that, though.
Just scrimping, y'all. I'm trying to get...
So the good thing is about the influence checks is that they actually do often deviate from the sense motive or culture. That's going to be different skill sets here. So yeah, you have your culture-driven person doing the assessments, but there's different ways to influence than sense motive or diplomacy and all that. So who would you like to start with? Let's get this ball rolling. Do we want to do any discovery checks?
Kuiper
what are the skills again?
To do a discovery, check is either sense motive or culture.
See, I've got a plus 18 to sense motive, so I can
that's pretty decent.
do that.
Do you have any inspirations?
I don't know. I don't think so. They were in my inventory and foundry, and I don't know if they got ported over.
They did. They got
update.
ported over. So
I do not have any.
Okay. Well, so who would you like to roll a discovery on?
See, I'm not sure because I'm kind of still trying to figure out what doing this will lead to.
So
It leads to determining the specific skill in which somebody could then use to gain an influence bonus.
To what end?
So
the
influence
influence
is how
bonus.
we are going to utilize the different fleets. Is that correct?
Right.
So each one of them has a fleet?
No. So when you get to the fleet assignment stage, for every fleet that you want to move from what's currently proposed will require a check. And so the more influence bonuses you stack, which are cumulative and applied to every check, the better it gets, right?
Right.
Do we know what's currently being proposed?
Sure, I can tell you that
Yeah,
if you
'cause-
want to get into that.
Yeah,
you
because
know.
we need to know who is controlling which fleets where.
So nobody's controlling any fleets specifically. Okay, so there's 20 fleets total that are at the disposal of the Directorate, and if you want to change how they're allocated, it doesn't matter who you've influenced. Once you get an influence, you get a bonus to the roll to reallocate a ship. So you're just trying to stack as many influence bonuses as you can. So then when it gets to the point to where you're trying to reallocate ships, you have those bonuses on that roll.
Okay, so I was sitting here thinking like we were going to be moving the Eoxian ships, and then we're going to be moving Camulin's ships and
No,
Melacruz's.
it's not like that. So the Directorate has 20 fleets at their disposal.
Okay.
You are part of this Directorate meeting to decide where those fleets go. Currently, they have 2 fleets assigned to defend the Adari, 2 fleets assigned to rescue the Eoxian fleet, 8 fleets to station defense, and 8 fleets for station security. So if you want to reassign that, you will have to roll a successful check. And for every NPC that you have gained influence on, you get a bonus.
Okay. So basically, we're gonna if we say we want to move 2 ships from station defense, I'm not proposing this, but if we wanted to move 2 ships from station defense to defending the Adari, then we would have to make a roll for each fleet, rather, not ships. Each.
Right. So you have 6 checks to sway. You'll have 6 total checks to move fleets.
Okay.
If you beat the DC by 5 or more, or for every 5 points that you exceed the DC, you can reallocate an extra fleet as part of that fleet reallocation.
Okay. I think I'm tracking now.
Yeah, and I'll explain further when we get to that. But right now, what you're trying to do is stack influences, which are bonuses to that.
So I think we can certainly get influence fairly easily from Melacruz and Lynn, right? Because between Kuiper and I, we've got bonuses to that.
May be able to get Mike to get a bonus through Zia Cho.
That's what I was thinking. Appreciation of like physical.
Yeah, that's the only one I can see a way.
It's like I've taken notes, and I'm over here in one note trying have pictures of them with names and traits and stuff that I've picked out, and I'm trying to figure out who would best fit what.
So again, you have some opportunities here to discover specifically.
Yeah.
And then you have some educated guesses. I would start with discoveries.
Right. Well, so we want to discover the ones that we think we don't have figured out.
Correct.
Like
yeah.
if we wanted to try and do
Correct.
Losafaran, we definitely want to discover his and match
So let's start
somebody
with
to
that. Let's start with that to get the ball rolling, because it's going to be the same DC regardless, and I think that makes the most sense because you have the least amount of information on Losafaran. So who wants to roll this sense motive or culture check? I think, Fel, you said you could try to use one of yours.
Yeah, I've got a plus 18, and I've got 3 more that I can do.
Yep.
So
Go for it.
hopefully I don't roll poorly. That was a 14
Okay.
plus 18. So 32.
That's a success.
Yay!
Okay, so
Thank you, Ibra.
you discover that to properly influence Lucifarin, in this case, it would be a culture, sense motive, or diplomacy.
Wunderbar. Okay. Well, that's
right.
a thing we know now.
Yeah, but that's a success there. Do you want to try any other discoveries, or do you want to just try to start getting some of these influences?
The only other one that I would think to try, maybe Nor, but I mean, that's another
But that's one that you seem to have a
understanding of. Okay.
yeah, maybe a educated guess, you know? So
Okay.
in order to, interested in moving, go ahead, Josh.
I was going to say, why don't we just go through the list and like say what we think they are, and if we don't know what it is, then we mark
yeah,
that
I
one
like
to
that.
be assessed.
There we go.
Sounds good.
All right, so let's start with Lynn. All right. Just a reminder that some of the things that might make him happier is that he is a soldier first and foremost, and he also feels like all of this is too talky and is ready to get to action. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's going to really help you much on the skills.
I assume
It makes me think it's profession soldier.
well, or like piloting,
Yeah, piloting as well.
or survival, or something. Maybe I don't know. I think piloting, or maybe even athletics, or profession shoulder, like you said. All right.
So Gevalarsk Nor,
You done it.
yeah, you know that he has respect for those that show knowledge and mystic power, and people that can manipulate others with words.
So that would be like bluff,
That's
right?
what I'm
or
thinking.
deception,
Or
whatever skill it
diplomacy.
is in this game.
I'm assuming for him is going to be either mysticism, bluff, or diplomacy.
All right, high charisma, bottom line. Yeah.
Well,
So sense motive maybe too.
Yeah, seeing through it. I'd say probably not bluff, maybe more sense motive.
all right.
All right,
Right.
are you going to do a discovery here or no?
I'm thinking probably not on him, but I'm not trying to steamroll this.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's mysticism is one of them. I'm praying, I'm hoping, because I want that one from Oren.
All right, so let's move on to Clendalic. This one says, those who show similar dedication to mental and physical health of others could win Clendalic's support, though the friendly Sheeran could also be browbeaten into submission.
Who's got
That's-
intimidate?
Yeah, that tells me
But-
diplomacy and intimidation.
So what you would be intimidating them to do is to not be so
Right,
keen on
which I don't-
sending stuff to Adari. You
I'm
know?
less interested in
exactly.
that. That's the browbeating thing. But I would think maybe life science as well, the physical and mental well-being of
Yeah.
others.
Are we going to roll a discover check on this one?
I was under the impression we were trying to not assess mechanically, but look at all of them and then decide which ones we want to
Yeah.
roll discovery on.
All right,
That's
so
what we just
Kumar-
talked
I
about.
will say I've got a pin in this one for discovery because I don't know. This one
Okay.
confuses me. So come
Then
on.
there's Kumara. A well-presented argument or any in-depth knowledge of Absalom Station can sway Melacruz. She's also impressed by those able and willing to cut through self-serving political doublespeak.
Yeah. So sense motive diplomacy. So
She's an
Yeah,
envoy,
that's
so
okay.
the
Yeah,
envoy
exactly.
things.
Yeah.
let's do Los.
Luciferian. Those who appear to weigh all the information at hand and act logically are most likely to gain Luciferian's support.
Well, we already did his, right? Culture, sense motive, or diplomacy.
Oh, right, you did. You already figured his out.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep.
I think he was like the toughest one, honestly. Yeah.
All right. Then there is Andar. And for Andar, anyone who platitudes to address the concerns that they have or any similar expertise in machines go a long way to soothing Andar's concerns.
Yeah, so probably engineering, because that's what I did before to assess. And I'm thinking probably not spend a discovery on it.
And finally, Zia Cho. Cho is impressed by eloquent arguments, but is equally enthused by those who appreciate physical performance.
Yeah, so maybe I can roll a check if that one's athletics, which it seems like it would be diplomacy and athletics.
I am thinking. I'm scared it's going to be acrobatics.
Yeah, that'd be about my fucking luck. Yeah.
All right,
Do we want to do a discovery on them?
I must insist that you make some choices
Yeah.
now and decide who you're going to roll discoveries on.
I say discovery on Cho, and then save the rest of them for
influence.
influence.
Okay.
How many do we have left total?
I have 2.
I have
3.
2, so that's 6. You have 3, John?
Yeah.
7, 8, 9, and then Heath has 4. So
And
13, which are
and Zach
limited
has
use.
1.
I'm sure I'll finish with 2 or 3.
So what I've got listed on here is Zia Cho as a possible, or these are the possibles. Zia Cho, Lynn Camulin, Klindalic, and that's it for the possible or the likely ones. So that'd be 3, and that'd give us 10 actions afterwards for 7 of them. So if we needed to re-roll, maybe not a bad idea.
So let's start with Zia Cho. We're going to work our way backwards.
Yeah.
We're going to roll discovery or not.
Yeah. I thought that's one of the
Yeah.
the
Yes.
one that
Sorry.
we were like, yes, we do want to.
Yeah.
So who's going to roll the discovery?
I feel like I should save my engineering for Andar. So
How many
I could
do you
use.
But
I
you
one
have
more.
2.
Well, I've got
you
2
have 2
more.
left.
So if
Yeah.
I do this, I have that 1 for engineering.
You guys
you
did.
do it.
You guys did seem to think that a lot of these would require charisma-based
Yes.
skills, and so anybody who can do discoveries to save Ziva from having to spend it is what I think a wise
Yeah.
call.
So if you'll
Yeah.
want to try your sense motive,
I sure can.
do you have any? You said you don't have any.
I don't.
Can I?
Can I give away my 1
Yeah.
inspiration?
Sure.
Josh, you can have my inspiration because I'm probably going to get fuck all out of it.
Okay, so what is that these days?
+2.
So plus 12.
All right, plus 12 it is. All right, so sense motive on who is this? Zia?
Sure.
Yep.
All right. And with the inspiration, ooh, that is another 14 on the die for a 34 total.
Yay! Yay!
Yeah, that'll get it.
Yay!
That'll get it.
Yeah.
And so for Cho, diplomacy, sense motive, athletics, profession dancer, or survival.
Okay,
are the
good.
checks that
There's
you
a
can
lot.
roll.
Okay, great.
Athletics. Nice.
Hell yeah, y'all.
That's
He
what-
did the
like,
most
I
cute
don't
dance.
give a shit what y'all are good at. Like, I'm doing athletics or I won't get to roll anything.
Well, why don't you go ahead and roll it, my friend?
Okay. Well, that's an 18 on the die.
There
Plus
you go.
26.
That'll get
You
it.
just flex so hard.
Just bench press that right for you, dude. Come
He
on.
gets the
wow,
feeling that
that's-
like you're in, like that they're susceptible to being impressed by physical stuff, and just like picks up the entire table briefly and puts it right back down, like with 2 fingers. you know?
I've got something to say.
All right. Well, I think we should listen to the big guy over there. Whatever he's got to say. That's pretty
I'm no
impressive,
longer
mate.
scared of desks.
Yeah. Okay, so Heath uses one of his. Josh, you used one there, so that leaves you with 1. Leaves Heath with 3. So let's move up to Andar.
Okay. Machines. So, do you want to do engineering?
All right, so Josh is going to use his last one for
Last
this
one with
engineering
engineering.
check.
I'm gonna mix it up with an extra large D20. So let's
yeah.
see.
I will say before you announce anything, if you've rolled yet, like engineering is one of the like 4 skills I can do.
Yeah. Well, I rolled a 13
Can I give him one of my?
plus 29.
Oh,
late.
never mind.
I don't think I need
that's
it.
that's a success.
Yay!
So that is
I'm sure.
yeah. So Andar is like, it is good to have another person who understands the mechanics of such a huge endeavor to move the Adari on this team. So there you go. It's another bonus added there. But Josh, you are out.
You did great, though.
You did great.
That's fine.
All right, Losifarian. We already did the discovery. We know that you have to roll a successful culture, sense motive, or diplomacy to gain influence from Losifarian.
Kuiper, you have how many? 1 or 2?
B.
Oh, you have 3 left? Okay. Well, how's your
Yes.
diplomacy? What you do?
My diplomacy is garbage. In fact, I think I have. Yeah, I have no ranks in diplomacy.
Well-
'cause
What about your culture or
It's
sense
still
motive?
probably like a
your
plus
sense
11.
motive is still.
my sense motive is a 26.
Yeah, yours
Holy
is higher
shit.
than mine. Yeah.
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
you do it.
I have been waiting to roll die, so yes. The 28.
Well, when you roll a 2, 26 isn't much. So that's no good. Would you like to try again or just count your losses here with Losifarian?
I mean, we need to stack influences.
Yeah, this is where it matters. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can, let me see here. Do I even know? I
say
don't have one.
I say go
Yeah.
again. Go again.
All right. Okay.
Y'all there like crossing their fingers, stressed, trying to get this.
Do
31.
you have any inspiration?
Well, that
No,
doesn't.
I
Oh,
don't.
it does.
That doesn't. So,
Nice.
wow. Okay.
That 5 on the die made
The
it.
5. The big 5,
Okay.
baby.
Now we're at Kumara.
Stressful.
Now, remember, you specifically have a +4 to this roll,
Yeah.
Emily. So this is, you know,
And so boop, 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 boop. Did we figure out?
you did not discover, but you had a pretty good insight that it's probably other envoy skills. You know?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with diplomacy because that is the envoyiest of envoys, I believe. And I am gonna use one of my inspirations.
Okay.
Okay. That will be a 58.
Holy crap.
Can we get a free influence from somebody else because it's that high?
No, but that's pretty dope. She's
Ziva
like,
presents a beautiful speech and she throws
Yeah.
up a leg like she's Captain Morgan.
Kumara is like, Councilwoman Ziva, this is why you will go on to do bigger things. I will trust your care for Absalom Station, but also the greater Pact Worlds. I understand your position. And so yeah, that's another one. All right, we're doing okay, guys. All right,
3 left.
Glendalic.
Mental and physical
I mean,
health.
and like that's the augmented Sheeran, right? Engineering is
Yeah.
certainly going to be one of theirs.
That's how I would feel.
So life science was one, also browbeating. So intimidate.
Yeah, but we don't want to intimidate them out of saving the
attacking-
Adari,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, saving the Adari.
Well, we're just trying to
right.
gain their influence, get them to
Yeah.
do what we want them to do.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of like they're just going to stop. You know,
Right, that's
oh.
true.
The question is, I only have 1 left.
I
Yeah.
can intimidate if we
Yeah.
think that's one.
I mean, it's
I mean, I would say browbeaten into submission.
that seems
It
pretty
sounds like
intimidation
Pretty
based.
intimidating.
I say go for it, because yeah, fuck it.
And it could be less like intimidating them out of saving Adari, but more
Like
about
stand up for yourself.
Yeah, let's
you
go,
know?
you know,
Yeah,
yeah.
I like that approach more.
And just yeah.
Yeah. Well, and Mike being, maybe not the greatest engineer in the world, but being a big fan of it, there's some connection there, I would think. Okay. 17 on the die,
Yay.
very nice.
plus 20. So 37.
That is another success.
Let's
there.
Yes.
go. I did it. I did a thing.
Here's the thing. Surprisingly, the other influence checks that you could have done would have been diplomacy or medicine. So life science nor engineering.
Wow.
Oh, then we picked the right one.
Yay!
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
All right. What do we have left? We have
Nor.
Lynn and Nor. So we're going to go to Nor here. You guys had a pretty... I mean, we've been waiting for it. Zach, here's your last one.
Yeah, mysticism, but I'm unsure, like, what aspect of that would be an argument towards influencing them. Like, I don't
he
get
respects
that.
those that show respects those who show advanced knowledge of mystic power. That's it.
I feel like Orin just being in the room exudes that at this point.
Just
you know?
Yeah, you can just blind them with your starlight.
Yeah.
And be like, all right.
I feel like I don't even need to do that. I feel like Orin's reputation precedes him at this point. You know.
Right.
I mean, like, I feel that way too about Mike being jacked as shit, but I still had to roll.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna roll, but I'm saying I don't really know like how to RP that. Yeah, like I'm entirely too tired to come up with something.
Orin's
I'm just gonna give you the fucking die, okay? Mysticism check is gonna be 40.
That'll do it.
Filthy.
That leaves Lynn, which both John and Emily will get a +2 on, and there's 3 chances remaining left from you guys, so you could just kind of go for it if you want.
I mean, if there's 3 chances left, there's no reason not to discover.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is fair. I'm sorry, what is it? Culture?
Or sense motive.
Can you do sense motive, Kaika?
And you'll get a +2.
Can I do sense?
Do it. Do it. I dare you.
All right. Yeah, let me just toss that out there. So +2 to that. That's going to be a 31.
Yeah, that's the +2 got it there.
Oh, thank God.
Right.
So the influence checks then are going to be either profession soldier, to the surprise no one, or diplomacy or sense motive.
I can do diplomacy
All right.
because I'm wearing my fancy jewelry, so that should affect him as well. And I'm going to throw on an inspiration just because.
And you get a +2 on that as well.
What is that? 5 plus 5.
42.
Thank you, 42.
Or no, +5. Yeah, +5, 42. All right, that's a success. You successfully have influenced the entire council.
Yay!
They are glad that you are here and are willing to listen to where you believe things should be reallocated, making that stage of this to be much easier. But we're going to do that next time, so we'll see you.
We'll see.
We'll see you.